Hi everybody, my name is Jaden.
I'm Eli.
I'm Jason.
I'm Caden. And we are the Yahoo and Torah YouTube channel.
And it is a preparation day. Yay! Drum roll. All right, which means tomorrow's a Shabbat. Yay! All right, what does that mean? It means that at sunset today, it is the end of the day. It is a preparation day, and for us, we are actually going into 2 Shabbats because we are celebrating Shavuot, and it is on a first day, and we believe that is the day that we have figured out, not even we have figured out, but that is based upon scriptures and based upon a lot of reading, and, just a lot of extra things that we've been reading that I believe the other one is not correct. And I know there's a lot of folks that have already been and celebrated Shavuot, but for us, we are celebrating it here. And regardless who is celebrating what, when, and where, it is, I don't think it's something to fall out of love of each other with, because we all definitely are finding our own walk, finding our own way. And we are deep into the book, not too deep, but into the book of Aḍam and Ḥawwah. And gentlemen, how you guys doing?
Good.
Everything good?
Yep.
You guys surviving?
Yep.
Beginning of the week was pretty rough, and we are now surviving a little bit. All right, let us continue on. Okay, this is chapter 7 of Aḍam and Ḥawwah, and this is where it begins. When Aḍam and Ḥawwah heard these words from Elohim, they wept and sobbed yet more. But they strengthened their hearts in Elohim, because they now felt that Yahuwah was to them like a father and a mother. And for this very reason, they had wept before him and sought mercy from him. And, again, this is the understanding that these people were born as adults. They were born in an adult state where they didn't have what we know of a father and mother. And it was Elohim was everything to them at that point, which it should be everything to us. But for, understanding human nature and various things, it's interesting. Anyone have anything?
No.
Okay. Then Elohim had pity on them and said, "O Aḍam, I have made my covenant with thee, and I will not turn from it. Neither will I let thee return to the garden until my covenant of the great 5 days and a half is fulfilled." Then Aḍam said unto Elohim, "O Yahuwah, thou didst create us and make us fit to be in the garden. And before I transgressed, thou madest all beasts come to me, that I should name them. Thy grace was then on me, and I named every one according to thy mind, and thou madest them all subject to me, unto me. But now, O Yahuwah Elohim, that I have transgressed thy commandment, all beasts will rise against me and will devour me, and Ḥawwah thy handmaid, and will cut off our life from the face of the earth. I therefore beseech thee, O Elohim, that since thou hast made us come out of the garden, and hast made us be in a strange land, thou wilt not let the beasts hurt us."
So this is like the thing, it's like as we or when we see like a bear or something, or we see some big animal, we have a little fear. These people didn't have that fear. Right? They're like friends with the animals. Now they're like concerned that the animals will eat them.
Yeah, and when, the life in the garden was, when a lion lays down with a lamb, right? And this is where there wasn't, I don't think, the same kind of animal cruelty that animals have these days, where it is survival of the fittest, and it is the natural life of things.
Like they actually become like animals.
Right. Yeah, absolutely. Okay. When Yahuwah heard these words from Aḍam, he had pity on them, and felt that he had truly said that the beasts of the field would rise and devour him in Ḥawwah, because he, Yahuwah, was angry with them on account of their transgression. Then Elohim commanded the beasts and the birds and all that moves upon the earth to come to Aḍam and to be familiar with him, and not to trouble him in Ḥawwah, nor yet any of the good and righteous among their posterity. Then the beast did obeisance to Aḍam, according to the commandment of Elohim, except the serpent, against which Elohim was wroth. It did not come to Aḍam with the beasts.
Okay, since the snake could talk, was it a fallen, or was this snake just evil snakes?
No, it wasn't. It was a. We've read before. Do you guys remember what we've read before? What the snake? It was an evil. It was a demon thing. Right. It was one of the.
But why wouldn't the snake do obeisance? The snake wasn't like.
Because the snake had been cursed. At this point, the snake had been cursed, and the snake is the adversary of part of the adversary of the humankind. And now it's something of evil, and when we see snakes out there, there's nothing here that likes snakes, nothing, and you don't mess around with them. They will kill you. A lot of them will kill you, and they all act the same. They're fast. They're nasty. They're nasty things, and they're super wicked. And I mean, it doesn't take a very big one to absolutely kill you. And so, all right, let's continue on. Then Aḍam wept and said, "O Elohim, when we dwelt in the garden and our hearts were lifted up, we saw the messengers that sang in the Shamayim. But now we do not see as we used to do. Nay, when we entered the cave, all creation became hidden from us." Then Elohim said unto Aḍam, "When thou wast under subjection to me, thou hadst a bright nature within thee. And for that reason thou couldst see things afar off. But after thy transgression thy bright nature was withdrawn from thee, and it was not left to thee to see things afar off, but only near at hand, after the ability of the flesh, for it is brutish." When Aḍam and Ḥawwah had heard these words from Elohim, they went their way, praising and worshiping him with a sorrowful heart. And Elohim ceased to commune with them.
So they could see into the spiritual realm, right? They could see into the angels and the demons and probably all that around them. They could probably see into heaven from their eyes were different, right? They had lost a lot of their special abilities that we will probably have in the kingdom, but they lost a lot of that.
Yeah, and that is, this is something we've talked about kind of a lot, but I believe without a shadow of a doubt that the things we cannot see are spookier than the things we can see. And I believe that surrounding us at all times are messengers, and also surrounding us at all times are the demons, the fallen, the ones that are trying to basically just crush us, crush humankind. They absolutely hate humankind. So these were short. We're going to roll into another one here. And so, yeah, when we are talking about all of this kind of stuff, there is a supernatural, or you call it a supernatural, call it whatever it is, but I believe that there are things, and we've had, a lot of miracles here, being out in the middle of a jungle, and not even just out in the middle of a jungle. All my life, I've had things that are somewhat supernatural that are hard to explain, things that went down that you would call them a phenomena, something of that sort. And even out here where we've had, we had a fire last year that basically raged across our land. And there were, as we were running with buckets and hoses trying to put out essentially just this burning fire, it was about to burn off everything, and it was heading off into our chickens everywhere. And it was all dry grass. It was all extremely dry grass that was burning off. And there was people that were praying. One of the prayers I had, I was asking Yah, I'm like, just that we have the understanding that we can defend what we can defend, and save what we can save, and let the stuff go that has to be let go. And there was a supernatural stoppage of it, and it stopped right where there was massive dry grass. It stopped unlike anything else that would ever happen. It was absolutely supernatural. It was absolutely answers to prayer. It was probably the messengers putting this out, or the hand of Yah putting this out. But it's things that you cannot explain. It doesn't make any sense when you look at the entire place that got burned off, and then you see where it stopped, just without water, without anything. And it was crazy. And it was one of those things, and we've had it time and time again. We also live with 10 pit bulls, and they are not vicious, but they, at some levels, 99.99% of the time it's good. That 0.01% of the time, when the pack, there's something that happens or something triggers, or two of them get into it, and the rest of the pack, the way it works is it's not a one-on-one thing in a pack. It's like, for some reason, the pack decides who is going to stay and who's going to go during a fight, and there'll usually be one, and it'll be like 3 or 4 dogs that are trying to attack them. And there have been incidents where I have had to fight the dogs one-on-one with a dog going at it, or 2-on-1, 3-on-1, without any of my family here. And it was extremely vicious. And, you're sitting there, you have no idea what's going to happen, and it is there's teeth snapping all around you. And I will be down on the ground, rolling around with the dogs, defending the one dog and trying to fight off the other dogs as all dogs. They're sitting there trying to snap and trying to fight. And I have over 100 bites on my arms, between both arms, where I have my hands and my arms that have been bitten. And our Creator has defended this. And there's no other way to explain this, that you're not going to walk away from these fights that we are in this house, without supernatural protection. So our Creator has protected this family beyond anything. I can't even explain that. And so there are supernatural things all around us, and that is the truth. And so let's continue on. We'll do this last chapter here. Then Aḍam and Ḥawwah came out of the cave of treasures and drew near to the garden gate. And there they stood to look at it, and wept for having come away from it. And Aḍam and Ḥawwah went from before the gate of the garden to the southern side of it, and found there the water that watered the garden, from the root of the tree of life, and that parted itself from thence into the 4 rivers over the earth. We've heard of these 4 rivers, right? In creation, we've heard of the 4 rivers. I remember something also in Genesis that I remember when we had reread it one time, that was talking about that our Creator had put fear of the animals in us, right? That He had basically, imagine a world where the flies and the bugs were not scared of humans, or where things were not, didn't have respect of humans. You would have cats that would sit there and try to rip your head off, right? If you would have a pack of cats that would probably try to take out humans. Every animal, for the most part, is subjection to humans, and given there's lions and things of that nature, which obviously will tear you apart. But for the most part, if we did not have our Creator that had created things of His nature, that He had created fear in the animals of humans, we would be already consumed. There'd be no way. It would be over. The flies would instead of us having to swat a single fly or 2 flies or something that would land on us, the flies would come and consume us, because they would not be scared of what humans did, and this would not be a livable terrain that we are on. And so our Creator has done some amazing things of that nature, and people should understand, He has designed this in a very, very great fashion. Okay, and Aḍam wept and wailed, and smote upon his breast for being severed from the garden, and said to Ḥawwah, Why hast thou brought upon me, upon thyself, and upon our seed, so many of these plagues and punishments? And Ḥawwah said unto him, What is it thou hast seen, to weep and to speak to me in this wise? And he said to Ḥawwah, Seest thou hast not water that was in us in the garden? Let me try that again. Seest thou not this water that was with us in the garden, that watered the trees in the garden and flowed out thence? And we, when we were in the garden, did not care about it. But since we came to this strange land, we love it, and turn it to use for our body. But when Ḥawwah heard these words from him, she wept, and from the soreness of their weeping, they fell into that water, and would have been put an end to themselves in it, so as to never to return and behold the creation. For when they looked upon the work of creation, they felt they must put an end to themselves. We want to stop here, or do you want to try one more? Let's try one more, so we don't leave them in a pile of water before we go into Shabbat. Yeah, this is really short. These are all super short. Okay. Then Elohim, merciful and gracious, looked upon them, thus lying in the water, and nigh unto death, and sent a messenger, who brought them out of the water, and laid them on the seashore as dead. Then the messenger went up to Elohim, and was welcome, and said, O Elohim, thy creatures have breathed their last. Then Elohim sent his word unto Aḍam and Ḥawwah, who raised them from their death. I mean, I can see this, right?
Yeah, they drowned themselves.
Yeah, they're dead. Father, Elohim.
They breathed their last.
They're done. What do we do? And this is now, how many times is this? We know that they've somewhat fallen to their death. It's like 5th time.
Is there a messenger that's supposed to take care of them? He let them drown.
Well, that's the thing. I mean, will a messenger stop you from jumping in the water? I mean, if you went and decided to put your face in the bathtub and just lay there, would he pull you up out of it, or is it your ability to lift yourself up out of it and save yourself? Right? These are our foremother and forefather that are having to gain life experiences as adults they're still babies in this terms of experience. These guys are all babies. Okay. And Aḍam said after he was raised, O Elohim, while we were in the garden, we did not require or care for this water. But since we came to this land, we cannot do without it. Then Elohim said to Aḍam, While thou wast under my command and wast a bright messenger, thou knowest not this water. But after that thou hast transgressed my commandment. Thou canst not do without water, wherein to wash thy body and make it grow. For it is now like that of beasts, and it is in want of water. When Aḍam and Ḥawwah heard these words of Elohim, they wept a bitter cry. And Aḍam entreated Elohim to let him return to the garden and look at it a second time. You all right, Mr. Cole?
Yeah, sorry, I had a cough. I was trying to keep it in.
Okay. All right, just checking on you. Okay, so they're figuring life out, right?
They're back to life, though.
They're back to life, and they're figuring this out. And a lot of people will go, "Oh, this didn't happen. They never died. None of this ever happened." How do you get from the garden state to a life of experiences without experiences, right?
Yeah, these dudes lived 900 years. We don't really know what happened in the 900 years.
No, and I mean, this makes sense to me. I mean, as much as this sounds kind of odd in some terms, this makes a lot of sense because you don't have experience. You cannot take a baby and make him like a full-grown adult and then set him in the world, and he would still be a baby. He would not know how to correspond with people. He would not understand what rain was. He would not understand what water was. These guys didn't know what water was to this thing. And as we get further in the scriptures, these guys, something that people should note is they have not eaten as of yet. This is something they have not figured out. Yah has not given them stuff to kind of eat per se, right? They have not eaten outside of the garden, and so they are. They don't know how their bodies are different than what they will become, is what I'm trying to say. Okay. When Aḍam and Ḥawwah heard these words from Elohim, they wept a bitter cry. And Aḍam entreated Elohim to let him return into the garden and look at it a second time. But Elohim said unto Aḍam, I have made thee a promise. When that promise is fulfilled, I will bring thee back into the garden, thee and thy righteous seed. And Elohim ceased to commune with Aḍam. Okay, so the seed, this is the promise, and this is something that, that we are all of us trying to get back into the kingdom. We're trying to get back into the garden. We're trying to get back into covenant with our Creator and trying to get back to that state of which sounded like a much better state than what we are in, right? We have all lived in this world that is a fallen world. We all understand what it feels like to get pricked by a thorn or to break a bone or to get hurt or to get injured. We're trying to get back into this world and into this state that we are, back with our Creator. And so the path that we have to walk is 120 years. That path is lined with the devil trying to get us and trying to take us, just like he took our forefathers and foremothers and everybody along the way. And we have things that they didn't have. We have knowledge that they never ever had because we have history. We have historical things, and we have scriptures before us. They didn't have scriptures. They didn't have a book of life sitting right before them that they could go and go, oh, okay, this is the way it is. And this is what we've been given. We've been given an opportunity, especially in the 6,000 years that we are here in this world right here. We are at the end of the age. We are at the end of time before the millennial reign. And it is something very exciting because you could see that knowledge is expounding, right? How many years ago didn't they even have toilets in the house? How many years ago the internet was invented? In the 80s, and now you have the click of a button, you can find anything. When I was a child, you couldn't go and find anything. You had to go to a library and you had to go find this card in this thing called the Dewey Decimal System, and you had to go through 1,000 different cards trying to find a single book, and then you would take that card and you would go and you'd find a ladder and you go up and down these things and you'd go find a single book, and when you found the book, then you'd open it. And then you'd go and start reading this huge books and you would get this little information in it. The greatest thing I ever had growing up was an encyclopedia that was like ancient and outdated, but still, even then, we didn't have anything like that. There was no internet. And so we are at the end of the age, and you can see that darkness is prevailing over everything. And this is why we have a chance, and this is why Boss Clan is sitting here trying to convince anybody who will listen that the Torah, from Genesis, Exodus, Leviticus, Numbers, and Deuteronomy, is what we should all be basing our lives on. This is what we should be living everything with. It's what we should be guiding our lives and our families' lives with. And if we're not, we're making an absolutely huge mistake because we don't know when we will breathe our last breath. We don't know when the end will come for any single one of us. It could be today. It could be tomorrow. Any one of us could die at any single point. And the only thing that we have that we can protect, that we can take with us, is our soul. And the soul will go with us regardless. But you're either going to go to the place of darkness or you're going to go to the place of betterness, right? The world that is to come. And so, guys, there is no better walk. There is no better way forward. There is nothing better than the Torah and Messiah Yahushua. So, guys, we hope that you guys will have a wonderful preparation day. We hope that you guys will celebrate Shabbat, which is tomorrow. And we hope that you guys will love our Creator with everything that you have. Put it on your heart, mind, and soul. We love you guys. Have a wonderful day.
Shalom.